it's talking to people who, number one, I respect.
All right.
Number two, I think can add value. As you know, I'm on this drive to get men to be better men and to get women to hold men accountable and be a benchmark. Obviously balancing that out with some women are really, they're pieces of work and they hurt actually good men. So to try and get men to understand, and it's all on men, by the way. I mean, I know I say, as soon as you say, but I want women, they go, we're making it women's fault. No, it's not women's fault. It never is women's fault. I'm saying I want to get that balance right. So that's why I say the manual is really, it's for men, but it's especially for women, so that you know what men should do, what they shouldn't do. That's the key. So the idea is just to invite people over and say, let's just chat. And what are you up to? And what's the advice that you can maybe give? Okay. You obviously are not although you look 28, you're obviously, I know, that oil of delay is working so well. The idea is to look at somebody who's been through the time. It's almost like somebody said, be the person that you wish you had around you when you were 17 or 18. That's what I want. I want to talk to you speaking to that person today. Okay, so
which would be great, yeah.
Okay, so first of all, get context, because I know you, a lot of people don't on my channel on stuff. So, Lizette, who are you? Where you're from? What are you specializing?
I'm Lizette Volkwyn. I'm a master life coach, published author, and a human lie detector.
Okay, whoa. Now, let's go back. I want to unpack those things. I'm a human life coach. Now, I'm going to tell you.
A human lie detector?
No, the coach, the life coach thing. I want to talk about the coach thing first, because every time I hear the word life coach, like your hairs go up in the back of my neck, and you think to yourself, like, a life coach, with respect, should be a person that's got their shit together. You know what I mean? I mean, a life coach should be a person who hovers on water, you know, that type of stuff.
I do.
Oh, okay. Then you qualify.
You know what's the sad part about it? And I do shiver when people say, I've just became a coach. I just had a guy approach me and he said, don't you want to do something with me? I just went on Udemy and I've just done a whole course on coaching and I'm like a psychologist and I would like to start a coaching practice. And my response was, huh? And I knew it wasn't a base ladylike thing, but I was just like, are you crazy? What are you thinking about this?
You know, I think is when you find 22, 25, 27-year-olds become life coaches.
It's scary.
And I'm going, but you haven't lived any life yet. So what they do is they go read some books and manuals and they think that they're qualified to life coach people.
And the worst part of it also, you know, somebody loses a lot of weight and they go, I am a weight coach now. I know exactly what you went through. Or, you know, I've been hijacked, now I'm a trauma counselor.
Yeah.
And it's not the way it works. Yeah. You know, I've been in the corporate environment for over 30 years before I even considering being a coach. And then I literally went from, I was working at Pan Solutions at that point in time. And I became their sales trainer. And obviously doing the trainer course and all those blah, blah, blah fancy stuff. Eventually I ended up and said, but you know, I'm still not feeling it. I want to do more. And then I went into the coaching industry, which I said, okay, where can I go and study or get these courses or really mean something for people? Because yes, I have a few things that along my way, which taught me a lot of lessons. And then I started doing the life coaching.
Okay, so if I understand it then, you because you've had so many years of experience, both in relationships, in marriage and professional life, you have all this knowledge. And the problem I think most people have is you don't have a system to get that knowledge across. Yes. So once you've got the experience and the lessons, you then go find a system which then allows you to take all of your knowledge and give it to other people.
Well, I would agree with you there. And the sad part is, no matter how much knowledge we have, if you don't have some sort of paperwork or credibility, nobody's going to listen to you. That's the first thing. That's a sad thing.
By the way, that's a sad thing.
It's a very sad thing for me. But for me, I've always been the fixer. I don't know if you've ever watched the American soap, The Fixer. I've been the fixer, no matter what. People, 12 o'clock at night will phone me and say, I've got myself in this trouble, can you sort it out? And I will. And hence, so yes, I've done the structured thing to go for the coaching thing. And we were a lot of people on that coaching course. And I was looking around in this room and I thought, not going to make it, not going to make it, not going to make it, not going to make it. And I felt, am I snobbish? Why do I have this approach of what makes me different? And I'm not saying I'm a great coach, but the referrals do show it. But yes, what would make me different than these guys sitting in front of me?
So I'm changing subjects now because as you say things, it's going to pop in my head. It's amazing you just said there. I'm not the greatest coach. It is such a South African thing to do. Is to be self-deprecating and to go. We do because we are taught. We are taught, don't blow your own trumpet. Be humble. Be that. But on the other side, you see the Americans. They are like, I'm the best. I'm the greatest.
Exactly.
But then a lot of them. It's not all of them. A lot of them do so without the credibility and stuff, and they just all hot air.
Exactly.
But it's amazing how we can't in our country tell people how good we actually are.
Well, that's exactly. And you know, the funny part of it all is that I wrote a book, Finding Me, a self-discovery adventure. And with that, currently, I've created a Facebook group, which is Confidently Stepping Up, embracing who you are and showing your authenticity, you know, with confidence. And then here I go, you know, I'm maybe not the greatest coach. It's a bit of ironic.
And that's the thing. And more importantly, you're so worried that people are going to go, yeah, but they're big-headed. And but it's just crazy how the people who will point that out are the insecure people. If I have insecurities with myself and I see a confident woman or I see a confident man, I don't look at the person and go, wow, what a confident person.
No.
Straight, because the spotlight shines on me and they go, if that person's that confident, especially when they've got those challenges in life, and I've got more going for me, but I'm not achieving that, I can't acknowledge you. I've got to pull her down to elevate myself. It's crazy.
And you know, it's so true. Nothing in this life is personal. But what do we do? Because it's your issue. If you're going to say, you know what, I don't like the way you talk, or, you know, that Afrikaanse dogtertjie met haar accent, you know, you don't sound great. That's not on me. That's on you. It's exactly like you said, because it's your issues, your perception, the way you present, how you perceive me. And if you have confidence in who you are and you embrace that, then the whole picture change. So yes, so then I've done all the coaching courses. And eventually I ended up being the master coach. So I don't brag about it, but I'm a hypnotherapist as well. So I've gone the master coach, the NLP practitioner, the hypnotherapist, the strategic business.
But I thought you could only become a hypnotherapist if you had a BA psych. I thought they wouldn't allow.
No, you are. I'm a master hypnotherapist on the NLP methodology.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Because remember, I'm not going into the medical side.
Yeah.
I'm going into the normal me and you type of
But you do hypnotize people.
Believe it or not, Gavin, in my whole practice of over 10 years, I only hypnotized people twice, and that was both sales teams. I only use NLP methodologies. NLP is so powerful. So, yes, coming from a coaching point of view, I mean, I have such great results. You know, a guy walks in, I had a kid last year, Jan. He walked in on the Thursday afternoon. He had on the Monday evening, 8 o'clock. He was driving from Witbank, and he's a guy running over the highway. He didn't sleep from the Monday or evening that it happened until the Thursday afternoon. So his mom ended up phoning me and saying, please help. He's not sleeping. I believe you're an NLP practitioner. Can we do your whatever you do? And he walked in at 3:30. He left. He went home, slept, and he had no problems again. Because that's the power of NLP. And that is why it's so important for me. When people say I'm a life coach, I go, yeah, but okay, if you say so, prove it to me. Because we can't change people, and you have to have a compassion for people. Don't just do it for money and a quick buck and, you know, slap the money down there and you have to do this, and if you don't do that, you're not a good person. You can't do that. You have to have that passion with people. And that changes it.
So
my thrust, again, as you know, is why do you women, and I'm going to generalize and say things that on internet they're going to go, well, you woman, yes, you woman. I always used to wonder. So as growing up, I was a nice guy.
Okay.
And because that's what I learned.
Yes.
Girls like nice guys. And if you're polite and pleasant and you know, you're not one of these rude, obnoxious things. But the funny thing was, it was the rude, obnoxious alpha males who went out and fought every Friday and Saturday and drank until they vomited and stuff. They got the girls. help me. Why? How does this work? And that's the thing is that, I always said to women, if there's a man who solves his problems with his fists, one day you're going to be his problem.
Correct.
So, what is it? How do we get women and young ladies and young girls to see something different or be attracted to? I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm sitting here now talking to a woman saying, I don't get it. Explain it to me.
A lot of the times, and I do see myself as an alpha woman. I mean, I don't make no quibble about it. I mean, I've been in the boardrooms. I know exactly how to play the game in the director's chair. So that's not a problem for me. But you need to understand the programming from childhood. You need to understand from 0 to 7-year-olds, you just getting all those, say thank you, be nice, be polite. And it's like your molding years. Okay. 7 to 14, you copycat. So if mom sits like this, I'm going to, without she teaching me that way, I will sit like this. Dad walks this manner, or the boys walks this manner. No teaching done, official teaching has been done. That's 7 to 14. But from 14 to 21, we question everything. So
the rebellious phase.
We call it the rebellious phase, and I'm very reluctant to call it the rebellious phase. It's really the questioning phase where you go to play with your friends because mom's allowed you now to go out a little bit because you're old enough. So you go out and then suddenly they have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch. We have tomato and cheese. So now I come home and say, no, I would rather prefer to have jelly and peanut butter sandwiches. And mom goes, in my house you'll have cheese and tomato. Don't think you're too fancy for anything else. And that's where the rebellious phase comes in. And that's exactly the same with our girls. What happens is, while we're growing up, we were copycatting. And there's a lot of things which we reflect to mom and we reflect to dad. So we see mom naff with dad and say, I will never talk to my man like that. I need a man who says, no, you have to do X, Y, Z. Because we think dad's a softie. Because remember, a dad and a daughter's got a very nice relationship. And what happens is, she's overprotective about her dad. Now she's going to look for a man who can stand up and be who he is wherever. And she's just going to experiment with that. And not necessarily go for that person. It's just a phase they are going through. And some of them fall into the pit of narcissists and unfortunately psychopaths and bad manners. But most of them go and say, no, they're not looking after me.
Narcissists, psychopaths, and bad manners. I didn't say that. A woman said that about women. Just remember, I didn't say that. It's so true. I mean, any guys out there, and that's one thing I'm trying to tell guys is that the whole concept is honorable and don't be violent, never raise your hands to women. I do all of that. But sometimes you meet pieces of work, eh? And some women, and again, a lot of them say it's their upbringing or whatever type of stuff, and maybe they've had, I get all of that. But there comes a certain age where you're going to take responsibility for your own flippant actions. Yeah. And some woman, I know of guys who have got divorced and they're in their 40s, their 50s, and they will not get married again. And they shake their head, they go,
because of their woman.
Because they met that woman.
Yes. I had such a great conversation. We were actually Sandula over the weekend with my daughter and her 2 boys. And we were sitting and having this conversation. She said, I always wished I could have a little girl as well, but I think I'm a boy's mom. And I said, you know what? A boy's mom have a lot more responsibility than a girl mom. Because the simple reason is you as mother need to show them what type of woman they have to go and look for when they're bigger. But dad needs to show them how they are treating their wives so the boys can learn how to actually work with women afterwards. And it's such a fine balance. If you allow your man, and I'm actually just helping a woman right now to get divorced because she's got 2 teenage daughters. This man is abusing her. And my words to her was, you're not handling it and keeping the family together. You're teaching your daughters it's okay that a man abuse you. And there's a huge difference to that. And I don't say all men are bad.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's my thing is that I used to sit watching TV and they go, men are this and men are that. And I used to get quite upset because they're combing everybody with the same comb. It's the same thing when when a political party will stand up and go and say whites are this and all whites are this and whites are that. I'm going, hold on. You can't take a select few. It's like saying blacks are this and blacks are that. You can't do that. However, and my eyes were open now in that it's not good enough, I believe now, to be a good man and raise good families and stand by your families, because there's not so few good men around that you have to now start writing books, doing talks. You've got to start stepping up, because there's a lot of young girls who are now women who didn't have that man in their arms. I interview women, I say, define a real man. Do you know what they do? They recite all the dysfunction of their fathers.
That's the sad part.
And they think that's normal.
But that's exactly what I've been telling you. It's all the programming which women reflect to that norm. You know, I'm really trapped in that same trap. You know, when I started writing my book, Finding Me, the original title was Finding Me Without Changing My Man. Because I felt so victim about the fact that I thought, you know, it's my husband's fault because I'm in this situation. I'm Mrs. Volkwyn. My kids are all head boy, head girl, and they're having everything going for them. Hubby's got this wonderful career. And, you know, I've really slaughtered myself, gave up my career. You know, I've lost my identity for them.
I've given you the best years of my life.
Exactly.
And I said, well, sweetie, you were there. You must have enjoyed it as well. And by the way, I gave you mine too.
And that's the sad part. And then we go and say, all men are there to use us. And then when you start doing this real introspective of who are you really, and you know, what do you really want out of life? Then you realize it's got nothing to do with your husband, it's got nothing to do with your kids, nothing to do with your career. It's all on you. And you have to start sort of stepping up and say, hold on, who am I really? Do I really like scrambled eggs or baked eggs or, you know, no, not even once. My husband put a gun to my head and said, you have to eat scrambled eggs.
I think Shakespeare said it, I think, I'm quoting Shakespeare.
Wow.
Shakespeare said, know thyself.
Yes.
And that little one line, but very few people go down that journey, because it's a tough journey.
It is a tough journey.
I was just driving the other day, because whenever I do long drives, I think, and thoughts come, and I don't really socialize a lot. And one of the reasons I don't socialize a lot, and I've got to be honest, is I find people extremely boring. Because they haven't really, all of the opinions that they have and everything they talk about, if it's not on social media, if it's not something that's happening to, I don't even know who they are, Britney Spears or Walipa or Flippin' whatever, they have nothing to say except talking about
of value.
And then you look at them and say, okay, well, I want to know you. So they talk to me about, and this is the issues people run away from. I don't want to put you on the spot now, because maybe you won't like me. The question is, what is your opinion on abortion? Ask anyone. So what is your opinion on abortion? I guarantee you they will regurgitate what their church told them or what their parents told them about abortion. So you look at them and say, but no. I don't want your parents, your dad, your mom, I don't want their point of view.
What is your opinion?
What is your opinion on sex before marriage, on any subject? And then you get this look and they go, and the first thing that comes out is programming. And then you say, okay, but you've got to get to know yourself. So what is your opinion? And then what I do, because I'm evil,
Gavin,
she says, they say that he says or she says to me, I'm for abortion. I go, why? Killing babies. Now what I do is it's almost like whatever argument they give me, I knock the legs out, because I'm trying to test I'm saying, do you have
how solid do you stand with that? And you know, that is my winning recipe, what I do. And people seem to say, you know, you're really cutting into the flesh right away. But if I don't cut into the flesh, my job is not for you to like me.
Yes.
When you sit in front of me, you're at point A for a reason. You want to be at point B. And I'm going to get you there. And, you know, I always say, you know, I'm the coach, I'm going to kick your butt and I'll drag you up until I get you there. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to ask you. Don't tell me because the church says so.
You know, the church also said you must stone people. The church also said you must sacrifice your elders.
The church also said, you know, so...
You know, I have a lot of ladies which I coach, which went through abortions, which have so much guilt and so many dismiss with themselves because the church said or the society said abortion is wrong.
Or the movement.
Or the movement
pro-life
said,
people.
you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Or you were so wrong, or you were so slutty and you had to do the abortion. And I have to pick up that pieces and get that person to point B because they believed the lies.
Yeah.
And that's so wrong.
Yeah.
So, Miss Life Coach Wisdom Person, you were speaking to Lizette when she's 17, 18. What are your 2 or 3 pieces of advice for that 17, 18-year-old that you now know that you wish you knew back then that can help people today? You're talking to yourself, 17-year-old.
Love that. You know, Gavin, the first thing I would say to you is forget everybody's opinion. Because opinion is just another human's point of view. And I was very, everything people would say would affect me. And I wanted to improve to everybody because I had quite a difficult upbringing. And when I reached the age, I started working on my 18th birthday at the SA Perm. Yes, that was me.
For the young viewers, SA Perm is not a hairdresser. It's a bank.
Part of Nedbank I have, you know.
It was the South African Permanent Banking Society. It was a society. So I think a lot of people, I worked at SA Perm. She was a hairdresser. No, she wasn't. She worked in the bank.
So, you know, and they I started there. I worked so hard to get rid of my upbringing. And just that people didn't realize that I didn't went to varsity, that, you know, I was in 13 different primary schools. You know, I don't want people to know that. And I was running away from all of that. And in the same process, I became an imposter. So if I have one advice, don't be the imposter. Be you, because no matter what happened to you or is going to happen with you, or where do you stay or how you live, if you are true to who you are, people will like you.
But that's
With
lonely.
that
No, but
authenticity.
that's lonely.
Why?
It's
I found that as soon as you are not normal, as soon as you start stepping out on your own, people don't automatically gravitate towards you. The first thing they do is judge you. So what I say to people is, you are right, you are spot on. And my teaching is be yourself, but there's going to be a time when people will call you weird because you're not fitting in. But if you stick to your guns and you are authentic, that's when you attract people. So this crazy thing is, you're going to go through a phase where you're standing your own ground and you alienate because people look at you and go, you're weird. You know what I mean? And they don't want to be around you because you're finally standing up for yourself. But if you can see that through, eventually people, why do you think rock stars and movie stars are, and they do the weirdest things and people gravitate towards them? Why? Because they're using that uniqueness that they have inside them. But they were first, what we don't hear are the stories of the years they were rejected. And Nathaniel is a great example. I love Nathaniel. Nathaniel's he looks my hero. And I think he did a talk once, and I'm going to paraphrase him now, but he said something on the lines of, I think he's had hate mail and death threats and something from more people than anybody else because of, as he's growing up, just trying to stay true to who he is. There was an alienation phase until people got it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now Nathaniel's the dude.
Yeah. But you need to understand, Gavin, you know, I hear what you're saying. It is a lonely phase. But I'm advocating your personal core values. Did you know that your core values is like your thumbprint? It's unique to you because I get myself and you can have exactly the same core values, but it differs in priority, and that makes us make different decisions. So if I'm true to who my core values are, and we have more or less the same core values, we will attract the same people.
Okay, but listen, I'm 17. You're talking core values now.
And this is where I have this drive because we are not taught the right core values. But let's go back and say,
She wants to change the schooling system. I'm all for that.
I want to change it. I want to be out there in the schools and tell them.
Biology and the crap.
What's that song by Simon and Garfunkel? When I think of all the crap I learned in high school, it's no wonder I can think it all.
Exactly.
And yes, there's a place for all of it, but let's teach life skills.
Exactly. Opinions drove me to loneliness because I would walk in and do something which will be easier for me. And they will come, no, you have to, I want to call. I was in grade 8? Standard 7? What was it? Whatever it was. Standard 7. And I was in the home domestic classes. And I was home economics.
Which they stopped, by the way.
Exactly. So we were preparing a whole dinner or lunch for the staff, the teachers.
Yeah.
I'm left-handed. So I was peeling a pumpkin. And this teacher came in and she took the knife out of my hands and says, go clean the dustbins because you will never be able to cut pumpkin. And because it seems for her that I'm going to cut my fingers. But I was quite in control with my left hand. Now, it's all those opinions that you start believing I'm not worth it. I go into a typing pool where we all type. And, although I'm one of the top typists, I always have this one person faster than me or doing this. And you go, I'm not good enough. Then you go into speaking world and you have a Gavin Sharples against you. And you go,
I was never against.
but I'm just joking. But
I didn't even touch her, Yarn.
But you have that impression. And if you're 17, 18 years old today, whether you're at varsity, whether you're right into the working environment, start just embracing who you are. And yes, you might lose people around you, but they were never your people.
Yeah.
And now realizing that they were never my people, because I found myself being in this little group, then in this little group, and then in this little group. I want to tell you something. So many years ago, I was in the office automation industry. I mean, don't we love the office automation industry?
Weren't we all?
Weren't we all? And especially in sales and being sales manager, sales director, blah, 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 in that industry, you need to be quite partying a lot and being out there. And every Friday afternoon, we had a group of close to 80 salespeople. But in my mind, every Friday afternoon, you had this clan going and having a drink before they all go home. I was never around it. I thought, what's wrong with me? Everybody's going. And then suddenly one day they invite me but besides the fact that I was a manager, that I wanted them to see me what they are up to, but they invited me. So I go there and I don't drink. So the first 20 minutes is okay. But thereafter, the jokes are really not that great. And by an hour later, you realize it's only 8 people out of a team of over 80 that's actually sitting around this table. It's youngsters looking for love. I have a home there with a nice family going home.
That's so cool. The funny thing is, you look at these young girls and guys who have got the haircuts and the style and they're flashing everything and they're walking around, and what they desperately are looking for is what I or my wife already have.
Exactly.
And they think it's called trolling, by the way, it's like fishing. They've got to show off absolutely everything and walk around and I'm mean and I'm this. But what they're looking for is they're looking to get married, to have children, to settle down, to have somebody who loves them. But they judge you. They judge you as being, you're old fart, you're old, or you're father.
Exactly.
Me, Tom, buddy,
it's the reverse.
Your goal is me. This is me, what you actually want.
Exactly.
But they look down on you.
And it makes you feel so. I still recall it to today. It's like yesterday. It happened yesterday. And I got in my car and I drove home and I thought, was this the insecurity thought I had about all these socialites on a Friday afternoon?
Yeah.
And I got home and I literally hugged my hubby and I said, for the first time, I really appreciate you to come home on a Friday afternoon instead of going to have a party or a drink.
Seeing the light.
I've seen the light.
Okay, so
Authentic. Be authentic. Yourself. Give me something else. Second thing to tell your 17-year-old.
Trust your gut.
Oh, I love this chick. I love this chick. Tell me about your interpretation of trust your gut.
I'm going to give you a quick science thing. So, in your gut, there's literally a hormone and liquids. I'm not going to do all the scientific wording, but in layman's terms, there's juices in your gut, which are directly linked with your brain. So your brain really assesses everything. So when you've got a gut feeling about a person, it's all about what's happening up here that says, there's something off on you. So it's basically, they are linked. So really, if you say, my gut feel, there's a link to it. And when I've done the human lie detection course, when we did another truth and credibility, the first thing we were taught is that you need to see your subconscious got over 20 tells, which you have no control over. So I have that, you have that. So when we meet, our subconscious talks already with each other. And I go, that's off. Okay, that's just off. And that's what we pick up. So we need to trust your gut. Remember, you have that experience. Whether you are 17, you've got 17 years experience. And we are taught, especially in the Afrikaner, asseblief oom en tannie, ek kraak hulle nie af nie. But in the Afrikaans environment, we are very strict. Kinders moet gehoor word, nie gesien word, nie gehoor word nie. And that's so sad. You know, we all have opinions. And then we don't trust our gut because we've observed. Now, you sat in a classroom and you saw that's not the way people need to talk to each other. You observed that teacher is not doing the way it should. Then you go in a workplace and you observe relationships, you observe what you want and what you don't like. You know by now you don't like sugar, you do like sugar. But now you're told to say something and you don't trust your gut.
I try and get this across to especially girls. And I mean, I didn't know about the gut juices and stuff, but
Okay.
I do say that when meeting a partner, and this is for guys and girls, you must trust your gut. Now, I didn't know about the science behind it. I just know that there's an instinct inside ourselves. And some people even say that it's based on your DNA and centuries of you are centuries of DNA, which is passed down. And when your great-great-great-great-grandfather was in a conflict situation or something happened, that shock and what happened actually affected the DNA, which then passed on.
Fact.
So as a species, and I always use this example, if you have a look at a bunch of gazelles drinking at a watering hole, and as they're drinking, they're looking around now for danger because this is the wild, and they're drinking around. But as soon as they hear a noise, it's the funny thing that animals do. They move away. There's a noise coming from the thing, and they go, okay, I don't know what's there, but I am going to trust my gut, my instinct, and I'm going to go. We are the only species that we're drinking water and we see danger, and we go, let me go and investigate.
But do you know that your amygdala in your brain is programmed through your DNA to think 75% negative and only 25% positive? It's in our DNA. Because remember,
That must be a defense mechanism.
it's a defense mechanism. Because when Opa and Oma was still on the farm and we were in the caves, we had to think the moment we walked out, is there going to be a snake? Is there going to be a danger? And that is why we are programmed to that. So when we look at people, it's like to say, we're a human, we go, oh, I like that bad boy. Can you just imagine for one night? And unfortunately, that one night becomes a lifetime of misery. We need to start looking at our gut. You know, I'm a very firm believer, and you know, it's that old thing, gut goes with trust yourself. You're a human being. You have an opinion. You're good enough. Because that is what happens while we don't trust ourselves.
Why? That's the strange
It's an
thing.
insecurity thing.
Why do we... The need to be liked and loved at a point is so strong that we override the gut instinct, the gut warning.
But look at how many women are losing money, and I'm going to say it, to Nigerians who says they're somewhere in the military, somewhere in Iraq, and somewhere wherever.
The scams.
The scams of where they are, and they pay thousands of rands to these guys so that they will come over and come and save them.
I see what you're saying. I was going to make a correction there and say, no, you're picking a woman, but men get scammed as well.
But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
The men get scammed basically because of greed. But you're talking about the women who are
Who are
so
scammed.
desperately looking for love and connection
Exactly.
that they were actually pay money to some guy in the Nigerian army.
Exactly. Well, the guy says, you know, I'm in this army, I've been deployed in America,
Yeah.
and I'm deployed in Iraq, and, you know, I want so badly to come and save you. You know, I saw your profile. No man and no woman out there will go through Facebook and say, oh, I like your face. Let
Why
me
do we
start.
do that? That's the thing is, and how do we, I'm trying to get in this whole real man thing and getting women to be more aware.
And I'm throwing this at you because, just to let everybody know, there's no scripting here. I don't send questions to people before. I'm going to be talking about these subjects. These things go where they go. So how do we get, is there a checklist? I mean, I know it's very difficult to tell somebody to do these three things before you go on a date, but how do we check that out? How do we prioritize our gut? That's it. What do we do, or what advice can we give young people? And I'm honestly saying this to you now because I don't know it yet. How do we prioritize to put the gut first and follow that instinct?
I want to go one step further. The gut equals your core value as well. And if you can if you guys are out there, whether you're a girl or a boy, go out there, and I'm a man or a woman, go out there and sit down and just start working out your core values. I've just had a guy now a month ago, and he came to see me and he says, I can't find a girl. He says, I go on this, and he was on Tinder, and he said, I'm going on Tinder, and within 24 hours, I go, no, she's not for me. I said, but hold on. Do you know what your core values are? He says, I just know I don't like her. I said, no. If you know what your core values are, and I'm not talking about integrity, trust, and being thankful and grateful. I'm not talking about that. Did you know that awareness is a core value? Did you know recognition is a core value? Did you know appreciation is a core value? And even there's over 500.
So those are just personality traits that you find important.
It's core values. So let me explain to you. So I have recognition as one of my core values. And when I've done this whole exercise, I went and I go, recognition, that's for weak people. Because why do you need somebody to say wonderful? But it's not all about just me. A core value evokes emotion. Secondly, it's not just for me. So if somebody doesn't recognize the work you are doing, it aggravates me. I get very annoyed when somebody's working their butt off the whole day and nobody go and say, thank you. That's a problem for me. And that's why recognition is one of my core values. But also, if I do something great, I want to know about it because that's for me feedback. So now that becomes your core value. Now I know this is my core value. Who am I going to look for now? I know I need to go find someone who's got similar core values than what I have. Then we will have to get along because we have the same beliefs, the same thought, and they become my tribe. So now the picture changes of what I really want. So if a woman will go out there, her gut, which is linked with the brain, and her core values is going to, because a lot of people haven't never looked at the core values.
Okay, so what have I got? I've got authentic, be yourself.
Yes.
Okay, I've got gut, follow your gut. I love the gut stuff.
Yes.
We speak for hours on the gut. Do you have a third one?
I think yes. Be proud of who you are.
What happens if I've got nothing to be proud of? I'm an average student in an overachieving school. I'm not a sporting person. I'm not popular with the guys. I'm not popular with the girls. And one of the reasons I'm not popular with the guys is I don't sleep around because I was taught right. So I don't get invited to parties. When I get an exam, my marks are average. And I tell you why marks are average because I'm not really interested in what Jan van Riebeeck did in 18, 16, 15,
Gavin,
19. So what can I be proud of?
I'm so pleased you're bringing it up. I can see myself there.
Yeah.
If people who see me now, I'm sure one of the school, a guy I used to go to school in Matric, and he wrote to me and he said to me, I'm on your group right now. He says, I was trying to find out who were you at school. And he said, eventually I ended up with Lizette Snyder. He says, it can't be. I said, well, you grow and you evolve. I said that was a great part of it. So when you go and say, I can't be proud of who I am, exactly what you're saying. I'm not the top 10. I'm not doing this. I haven't done anything. Guess what?
I don't get invited to parties.
I don't get invited to parties. Guess what? Your uniqueness, nobody can copycat. And the moment we start embracing our uniqueness, and goes back to the authenticity. But when we start understanding, you've survived your whole high school career. You've survived varsity, whether you were popular or not. You're still here and you're making proper decisions in life. You can actually go through your high school and get yourself into a proper job. Or you could get yourself into a work environment. Or you are you behind the scenes person. You support the jocks. You're the guy who supports the rugby team. You're the guy who actually carries the water. If you don't carry the water, who's going to do it? You're the guy who actually motivates that guy whose girlfriend just broke up with him. That's your uniqueness. And the moment we embrace that uniqueness of us, you have to be proud of who you are. But because we are so insecure, we never are proud of who we are. So we always think we should be on the back burner.
I think what we do is we aren't proud of ourselves because we're comparing ourselves to society's sense of what is accoladable, what is achievable, what is, and what I don't, that's why for me, and that's why I know a few people, and yes, I'm probably going to have a few celebs to come in and be interviewed them, but I believe if you're looking for a real man, he's the dad that goes to work every day in a thankless job, brings his money home, gives the whole amount to his family, spends time with his kids, reads the bedtime stories. Now that guy, hasn't opened and run a multi-million rand company. He's not a front row forward Springbok scrum. He can't sing songs. You know what he is? He's got the best thing in the world. He's a dad.
But
He's
not
an
only
active
that,
dad. He's there.
he's an investor in human life. And you know, when you start looking at that, you know, I get very passionate when you talk about this, because we get so many moms out there who says, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
I love that. I'm
I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm just bringing in my salary, you know. I'm not going to get the promotion, but I'm quite happy being just the clerk. I'm just happy to be the junior manager. I'm just happy to be the stay-at-home mom. And my question always is, so if you weren't the stay-at-home mom, how would your kids would have been formed during their forming years? Who will be there to support them when they forget the homework at home? You know, who's going to be the one when hubby gets home to help him get relief of all his stress for the day? Have a cook meal there for him ready and just say, just be you. Don't need to pretend that you're at work and you're a high fighter.
So the young person in school needs to be proud of the fact that they might have got 60% for their history paper, but compared to the fact that they don't enjoy history, the fact that they are not gifted at it, the fact that they worked their butt off to get that 60%. Yes. So I think you can be proud of yourself if you compare yourself to yourself yesterday. Yeah. And on a daily basis, no matter what, I mean, and it's a simple thing, like if you know, some guys training 5-6 days a week, but that's not you. Mm-hmm. For you to train 2-3 times a week, if that was a step for you, then be proud of the fact that you train twice. Doesn't matter how hard they train, doesn't matter where they train. The fact that
your comparison against you.
That's it. Your biggest competitor is yourself. And as soon as you start competing against yourself, automatically you can be proud of yourself as long as you were doing more than you did yesterday.
Gavin, my mantra is, I live by my own mantra. All you have to do is be 1% better than you were yesterday. Nobody else, you were yesterday. You know, I go every night. I have a post-mortem every single night. It's a habit of mine. I switch off the light, and before I turn around, I go, okay, I've done my interview with Gavin. How did it go? Where can I improve in the next interview? Okay, I've seen this client as a coach. I should have said this to him rather than this, and I go for it. Am I critical? No, because I live by my mantra. If I can be 1% better than I was yesterday, I'm improving and growing and evolving every single day, and I can be proud of that. And if it sometimes means I got out of bed today, it's 1% better than yesterday if I was lying in bed the whole day yesterday. And that is how we have to start saying, stop comparing with the person next to you. They have their own insecurities.
So you're quite a machine by doing that every night, because, I mean, at my age, I've got to turn on the humidifier, I've got to tilt the bed up, I've got to put the gum guard in, I've got to make sure that my Vicks is under my nose, I've got to take my sleeping tablets, I've got to take the gout tablets.
Well,
so you're quite a machine.
After all of that, you know, you had the Monday to Friday tablets.
Yeah, this is getting old. It's not for sissies.
It's not for sissies.
Yeah, see. And you know, the funny thing is, you wake up one morning and you look in the mirror. You say, "Who the hell is that old toppy there?" And the funny, I don't know if it's happened. Yeah. Maybe it happens to Labour as well. I don't know. People are starting to give me different names. So as soon as I start getting the grey hair, I'd walk into a shop, like a Caltex or something, and I'd buy something, and it's yes, Tata, no Tata, and okay, Tata, okay. First of all, I had to look up the word Tata. I have to find out. And then I'm looking at, who the hell? I'm not your father. Yeah. I'm not your great father. And the other day, I got a friend of mine, Andre, and we were in his I popped in for a cup of coffee. And he looked up and he says to me, he said to his brother, he said to him, "Kom groet oom Gavin." Okay. Who is your worm? Gavin? Of course, partly you have to realize that in the black culture, it's a big sign of respect. In Afrikaans culture, it's a sign of respect. Yeah. For English speaking people, I mean, I even know, hello, Uncle Gavin. You go, I'm Uncle Gavin. My name's Gavin. Thank you very much. But it is a sign of respect. But when they start calling you father and grandfather and stuff, getting old.
Well, that's the thing, you know, in our minds, I mean, myself and hubby's, we're still young. I mean, hubby cycles, he's going now for the Transpavians and whatever, and he's fit as a fiddle. And then I go and, I go underneath the tables and play with the little ones and everything. And then my daughter goes, just go in the house so we can see you are safe. No, you can't do this because, you're getting older. We can't allow you to do that. And I go, what are you talking about? And you go look in the mirror and you think, when my mom was this age.
She was a tiny.
When we thought, my mom's old.
Yeah.
Now I'm that age and I go, no man, I'm not old.
But hold on, I think there's a difference because
There's a lot of people who were our age. I mean, my dad,
Yes.
when he was my age, my dad was an old man.
Yeah.
He didn't stay young. He didn't, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so his opinions and points. I mean, I woke up the other day. I just had a birthday the other day. And I went to Sam and I said, you know what? Honestly, I recognize myself as being like maybe 42, 41. Because my brain thinks like a 25-year-old. But I still try to go to gym and do the stuff that I do like I was when I was 30 years old, but I'm not. I'm in my
And you can feel
mid-50s
it.
now.
Exactly.
And sometimes you do.
We do feel it.
Your mind is
Plays with you.
writing out checks that your body can't cash, but tries to cash it. And the next morning you're lying in bed. I've got polio.
So literally what happened, you wake up and you go, okay, just give me 5 minutes before those little ones get into the bed again with us. Let me just get my hip out and my legs out because it's all stiff. But it's exactly what you're saying. You wake up your body's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful. Like you said, my dad unfortunately passed away at the age of 55. I mean, I'm going now for 55. And the first thing you go is, wow, but my dad looks so much older at the age of 50. But he did.
Suppose there's a lesson in there as well, is that you're as old as
Your mind.
as the woman you feel. I mean, old as
The woman. You're right, exactly.
my wife's 10 years younger than me. Just thought I'd let you guys know. Married, right?
But
Okay, so you got young ladies. I love this. It's authentic. It's your gut, and it's your values. Make sure you understand
and
your
be
values.
proud of yourself.
Yeah, I'm a young guy. Maybe it's difficult for you to answer now. What do you look for in a man? There's obviously, I don't know if you know any real men, and if you do, I'll bless you for actually having known them. But what do you? If someone had to say to you, which is the question I ask, is what is a real man? Define one. For you.
I'm going to make it personal.
yeah, it must be.
I'm going to make it personal. So we've just been married 35 years.
Oh,
Okay. Was it easy? Hell no, it wasn't. Especially because the first 15 or 20 years, I wasn't true to who I am. I wanted to please everybody. And he didn't know any better. So he treated me the way he wanted to. We thought he was treating me right. So the time I threw out my toys out of the cot, I mean, and I said, no, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and now we're building all these rules to it. I think a real man can only be a real man when his woman is real. And being real is knowing who you are, being true to who you are, and also voicing it and communicating. Because once you do that, your real man can step up. And, when we went through that phase, he said, but I never knew that's how you felt. I mean, I used to go out.
Oh, yes, because you women think we're clairvoyant.
Exactly. But we do. I've expected
and
it.
you say, what's wrong? Nothing.
But you're supposed
That
to know.
means something, eh?
If I sound fine, read between the words, the letters, never mind the words.
It's not fun.
And it's not fine. But, you grow up with this fantasy because the movies say, this man is going to come into your life. He's going to save you from wherever you come from. And he's going to provide. And he's going to listen to you. And he's going to say, are you okay? And when you say, no, I'm fine, he's going to say, I can see something's wrong. Is it your mother? Is it your father? Is it the kids? Can I actually send you on a pamper weekend? Guess what? They're not going to do that. They can't smell. And you have to understand a real man only can become a real man if he's got a real woman who understands who she is and are true to that situation
Women
with
don't
respect.
Women don't know themselves. That's the problem. They don't. And my challenge is that women, we not start talk about how many how many woman-headed households there are in our country, and how many men are not there. And so a lot of women haven't had role models. A lot of women haven't had, if absent fathers, abusive fathers, fathers who might have even been in there, but they were absent in the fact that they weren't actually there parenting. They were so busy doing the other stuff, even if it's workaholic. So women and men, but they don't know themselves. So it's very difficult. And I think with a man, and that's why you say, when we say marriage is hard, it is because you're still finding out who you are while living with somebody else who doesn't know who they are. And heaven help you if you live with a man or a woman who's not interested in finding out who they are. And their dysfunction, I say dysfunction, those things that they're doing to hurt the relationship, they don't want to change. So it is a battle.
Gavin, you need to understand, because we are seen as the weaker gender. But it's not true. There's a lot of women out there.
You can't arm wrestle, you know what I mean? I could take you arm wrestling now. Listen, I've got to be honest. But I get your point.
But you know what I mean? And the sad part is when people are attacking people and people are hurting other people, it's because they are insecure. They don't know who they are. And that is why I'm such on a mission. In the next 2 years, I want to enable at least 100,000 people to confidently step up to their authenticity and know who they are. Because when you know who you are, your whole relationship with people, with your loved ones, and the man in your life changes. I mean, I have to be honest. After 35 years, I can honestly say we're in the best place ever. Not quite because of him. And meaning that he did a lot of hard work because he said, okay, where do I need to adjust now again? Because I became very vocal of what I needed. But not only what I needed, but what I wanted to be as well. And he gave me the space to be that.
So this is relationship advice now.
Yeah.
So it's hard work. It's basically meeting somebody and saying, that old thing, I honor, love, cherish, I'll obey, I'll do all that type of stuff. It's to sickness and in health. There's a movie, I must actually get the name of the movie. Now all of a sudden the actors have jumped out my head as well. Meg Ryan is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And she is married to, his name's gone up, mate. It's probably the actor of all actors, the guy I like the most. He's the guy from, the whole movie is that she is an alcoholic.
Yep.
And the way she treats him and things that she does, the whole movie is that any man would have left her ages ago, because when she sobers up, she says she'll be better.
That's it.
And the entire movie is how this man just stays by her. And there's one scene where his friend or somebody is saying to him, but she's done this, she's done that, she's done this, and I'm talking the most horrific things. How do you stay with her? And he just says, because I love her. And she's got a disease. And it is a disease.
It is.
And I'm going to love her through it. And the movie, and if it's based on a thing, is how he actually goes and loves her. And when she beats the alcohol, when she does the meetings and stuff, and they come through it at the end, their relationship is strong. But for me, being a younger person seeing that, I thought, kick her to the curb, life is too short. But that's what marriage and relationship is. However, there comes a time, especially with a woman, when that relationship is abusive, when there's violence.
I'm the first to say.
We're not the people to say now, stick with it, and
Correct.
He'll beat you less in the future.
No. I'm very proud because, and it's vice versa. I keep on bringing it back to the woman because I want us all to understand that we have to take from both genders the responsibility. And yes, I understand we are talking about real men and how life needs to be treated to women. Yeah. But women also abuse men. Yeah. I mean, they also physically abuse men.
Yeah, I've heard
and
that.
And we go, how can a woman rape a man? They do. How does a woman, this little small woman, hit the man? Because he's taught you don't hit back. And it's very sad because you have this whole warped relationship. But for me, it's not only about love equals a tribe. If you got you're authentic to who you are, and you really, and I do hammer a lot about authenticity and about your core values. But if you really embrace that, you will find the person who's the same value as what you are. And when you do that, both of you, you are the same tribe, no matter what. So if you're going to have a bad period in your life, I know you're my tribe. I will hold on to you, and vice versa.
Well, I've learned a lot here today. I've learned that apart from all the things that you say, you are human lie detector and life coach, and what's the third
Published
one?
author.
A published author. You're just basically, when I'm asked now in the future about Lizette Volkwyn, what does she do and stuff, I'm saying she's all about authenticity. That's all you're about. Your whole thing is authenticity, and then how to find your authenticity is obviously finding your values, understanding your gut, going through all the work. Because what you're saying is, as soon as you know yourself, everything else falls into place.
Fact, because the moment, and I can talk about personal experience, but I have all these people I coached over the past 10, 15 years, and the results were the same.
Is that what you do? You're teaching people to know themselves.
Every single day.
See, on your business card, it should be know thyself.
Because the moment you embrace who you are, your confidence level change.
True.
And the way you think, and it's okay then when you walk into a room, it's not a question of, will they like me? It's okay if they don't, because then they're not my tribe.
You walk in a room, you say, well, I like them.
Exactly. It changes completely.
I've got one last question. What do you find attractive in men? So if a guy is about to, and I know you're going to say he must be authentic. Okay, I get that. But what in that authentic personality do you like? Do you find appealing?
Vulnerability. Without a doubt.
You got to unpack that, because for a man, I must like weep, and
No.
when we're sitting in the movies and there's an advert, I must cry, because that's how I'm going. Okay, what do you mean?
That's emotional.
That
I'm
would-
talking about vulnerability.
Which means what to you?
Which, for me, that would mean is I've had a tough day and I don't really know how to handle this person at work. That's vulnerability for me. Or I'm afraid to show the boys how to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. But that's showing me your vulnerability. You're not in control the whole time.
Okay.
And for me, vulnerability is to show your fears as well. And contradictory of your fear, you will still do it. That's the vulnerability I want to see.
It's courage. So courage means I feel the fear, I admit the fear, I acknowledge the fear, but I
Yes.
do it anyway.
Correct.
And it's the fear that drives me.
But you
that's
show
how
me that vulnerability.
Okay, but there is a caveat. I understand that, and I agree 100% with that. But there is another side of it. And a lot of women say they want that, but a lot of women find their strength in their husbands and their husbands' confidence and stuff. So what I have found is a lot of guys have said yes, but I told, for example, this pandemic is happening now. A lot of guys are scared. We don't know where the next paycheck's coming from. We don't know if we're going to be retrenched. But our families and our kids and our wife, we're the strong ones. We're the ones that they get their courage from. So when I walk in and I show you my vulnerability, there's a chance that the woman then rebuffs him and goes, well, I don't want a weak man. I want a strong man. Because you've got to be a strong woman, which goes back to your previous thing when you said, in order to be a real man, you've got to have a real woman.
Yeah.
Because in order for me to show you my vulnerability, I need to have a woman who's strong enough to understand that it is a strength for me showing you my vulnerability. It's not a weakness.
But that's exactly what I was saying. Because remember, and I appreciate what you're saying, and you assume that all women just want to be the strong man who's going to protect me.
Yes.
We just assume that.
Yes.
It's not. Because I don't want a guy who says, oh, I'm afraid. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, amongst his strength, every now and then he can still show me his vulnerable side as well. And say, you know what, I don't really know how to handle this.
But you know, I think a vulnerable thing about the woman would be nice is jealousy. You know, when a man, I suppose not ugly jealousy, just when a woman
nice
knows that, when a woman knows you're busy talking to some guy and he gets a little bit, and he might say something like, he goes, oh, were you going to that interview with Gavin again? And you think to yourself, oh, he's jealous. Now, he didn't throw a wobbly, he didn't take a gun out, shoot 15 people, he didn't cry like a little girl. He made some little comment, and all of a sudden you thought, I still got him. Still got it.
And that's that small vulnerabilities which attracts me. Because that's a real man saying and acknowledge, I'm tired tonight. I don't want a machine. If I wanted to marry a machine, I would have gone for Robocop. You just need sometimes to know that you're human too.
Yeah.
Because you are so superhero.
Yeah.
I'm going to handle this COVID. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And you go and think, aren't you afraid of the COVID? Are you human? And that's what I'm talking about when I say vulnerability.
So being real.
Being real. I want the real man.
Thank you so much for popping in.
It's a pleasure.